Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another exciting chapter of Billie Beane's Sci-Fi-Nunatayet series. Book 1, The Five Palms of Y, Chapter 30, Love is Enough. Okay, in this chapter we have General Nokobi and Shadow Leader Anichi and others repelling a hostile off-world ship from the dragon fires out of the Orion system. And we cover the concept of couples in love can unite in thought to achieve an objective. Abby Jake John, who is a man in his 90s who is on his returning trip, meaning in the next 2 years his soul will separate from his body because he desires to return to Y, heaven, and his past wife and other family members. And he plans to make a trip to inside the Nunatayet mothership Victory to upload software to free it from this off-world software evil, the alien mechanical particles that had been invented by this hostile off-world ship coming in on the dragon fires, called the dragon fires. General Nokobi and others are on the Soul Eater's Black Planet Moon, where General Nokobi and his people had come to rescue males who had been kidnapped by the female Soul Eater warriors from the Black Planet, and they had found other species and male souls. Their medical team had been able to integrate the other species male souls back into their bodies, so the other species had ships inbound to pick them up. And this is when the Dragonfire ship from the Orion system tried to slip in. But General Nokobi and Shadow Leader Anichi had many secrets and knew much. Okay, the Dragonfires thousands of years ago had written the software program involving alien mechanical particles, a system that could float through the air similar to dust and be in the state of matter, go inside a computer system, and then convert itself from matter, dust, particles, to software and then take over the system. General Nokobi had closed the Soul Eater's Black Planet's moon, which is where General Nokobi and the people were, on the moon of the Black Planet. He had closed the landing dock so the off-world ship of the Dragonfires could not land. Now, Abby Jake John, the individual who's on his returning trip, had obtained from the AI dad on board the Nunatayet's mothership Victory code and keys involving Elvis Presley, some of his songs, and Abby Jake John, who had been a computer engineer born on the Stillness, whose parents had pioneered the knowledge of the alien mechanical particles, had written the software, and it was going to be required for him to physically go on board the Victory to upload it. He had asked for the assistance of two couples that were currently on the moon, who were deeply romantically in love, Anna Peach, Captain J. Mack of the Cowboys, a renegade law enforcement group, and Hamley the Hermit, a rescued male who was a biologist, and Jajili Lantani, who was a lioness tracker. He had requested them because they were bonded souls, deeply in romantic love, and so their souls were bonded. He had asked them to participate in assisting him with human thought, the power of human thought, when it was time for him to go on board to upload the software, because the alien mechanical particles had been created without human bonding. So Abby Jake John had prayed to Y and had received that download from their creator God Y to have the couples who were engaged in romantic love to unite in thought to assist him to overcome this lacking by the alien mechanical particles. Okay. Now the near the Nunatayet mothership Victory and the on the planet is General Nakobe. Okay, so now we're getting into the action part. General Nakobe advised that the landing dock had been closed and the moon's shield was up, but this left the black planet vulnerable because so far they had not established comms from the black planet's moon to the black planet itself. So that had not been established. So they were on their own with the female warriors, soul eater warriors, in charge on the black planet. General Nakobe calmed Shuttle Leader Anichi, who was aboard Shuttle 1. Then General Nakobe sounded the call to arms of his people who were on the Soul Eater's Black Planet moon. He gave orders in a fast, orderly way. Alert, prep to go hot. All of his military people instantly locked and loaded their weapons and gave notice to the civilians of a possible attack of an unknown source. General Nakobe outlined what if the situation was that there was an inbound hostile ship, the Dragonfire, fires out of the Orion system. And he contacted Shadow Leader Anichi aboard Shuttle 1 that had the Black Hawk Warrior Special Forces on it. They agreed that they should press ahead to regain control of the Victory. And now, on the moon, we switch to Captain J-Mac, head of the renegade law enforcement group called the Cowboys. He awoke from a dream, out of breath, with his lower body puckered. Fear gripped his groin area. Captain J-Mac, 47, never married, a lifelong bachelor, now had thoughts of proposing to Anna Peach, a fellow cowboy. And he and Anna Peach were engaged in a 2-year monogamous relationship, for which Anna Peach had hired a monogamous couple contract writer to make a contract for them. And Anna Peach currently owned everything Captain J-Mac owned, and would own everything he gained in the future. When a man is in love, he will sign anything. But now Captain J-Mac was having dreams of a wedding and children and a future with Anna Peach. He was scared. What am I thinking? On Nunatayet, individuals, usually by the age of 7, go through what's called a vision quest. And they go and they're met either by Y or Y's light beings, and they receive activation for their spirit gifts inside them, and they learn what is their occupation going to be. At that time, their hair turns white. Now, as they grow up and meet their soulmate, you can tell that they've met their soulmate because the white hair begins to change back to their natural color. For these couples, marriage is the option. and the tribes all come together because it's an extension of the tribal bloodlines. So, but for couples who've already gone through this process, met their soulmates, and their hair has changed from white to a natural color, perhaps they were married, perhaps they were engaged, but at some point in time they lost their soulmates passed away. And then they had their natural color hair, and they were available for marriage in the future. So now this had happened to both Captain J. Mac and Anna Peach and the other couple on the moon, Hambly the Hermit and Judgilla Lantani. All four of them had gone through this process, met their soulmates, and then had lost their soulmates. So they were available for marriages. In the case of Captain J. Mac and Anna Peach, a common arrangement, if the couple did not want to marry, would be to be engaged in a long-term monogamous relationship that was bound. They were bound together also by their contract, and they're saying, to other people, their family and friends were a couple. Okay. So that's going on. Now, Hambly the Hermit and Judgilla Lantani had recently met, but they both were wanted to marry and have children in the future. So they planned on being married at one of the 4 festivals on Nunatayet. There were 4 times a year when 4 festivals were held on Nunatayet, usually on a regional basis all over the planet. And it was at that time that couples would come together and marry, because all of their tribes on both sides would be involved in that process. They would also be updating their histories. The tribal historical societies would also be at the festival locations, and individuals then would have beads added to their hair beads. Each individual on Nunatayet wore traditional hair beads that would indicate their tribe, their parents, their marriage, their children. And even going down to the tribal leaders, then they would have long beads signifying all the families in the tribe, and these would be on racks. And then when they had formal meetings, all these racks with the different beads signifying different families in the tribe would be brought forward. But for each individual, you would wear hair beads. When you met someone new, they could instantly tell what tribe you came from, if you were married, if you had children. So it was a good thing. Now Abby Jake John prepped himself for the trip to go on board the Victory ship for the download of the software. Now, with regard to these couples, Captain J. Mac and his fear of marriage, but he still had that thought that love is enough. Love is enough is the meaning in the old language of the name of the planet, Nunatayet. And the same with Hambly the Hermit and Judgilla Lantani. Even though they had just met recently, they both had that thought, love is enough, because they had been without partners for several years. Okay, now Abby Jake John, the individual who's in his 90s, is on his returning trip, his 2-year period of his soul separating from his physical body so he could return to heaven and Y, and his wife who had passed away, and his other family members. Abby Jake John prepped himself for his trip to the mothership Victory. And it had come to him during a prayer session with Y that it might be required that he give up his life. In the process of uploading the software, and he had this thought: love is enough. So, to be continued. I love you, and I'll see you soon.